Everything you knew about happiness and success is wrong. Yeah, you heard me right. You've been chasing the wrong things, believing the wrong ideas. And it's time we set the record straight. Welcome back to the channel, folks. Today we're diving deep into the world of Stoicism, a philosophy that holds the key to a life of true fulfillment, balance, and inner peace. But before we get into it, let me ask you this: how often do you find yourself stressed out, overwhelmed, or just plain exhausted by life? If you're like most people, the answer is probably way too often. Well, what if I told you that the secret to overcoming all of that doesn't lie in changing your circumstances, but in changing how you think about them? Intrigue? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have a new perspective on life, one that can make you unstoppable. So you might be thinking, Stoicism? Isn't that just some ancient mumbo-jumbo for people who like to sit around and think about stuff? Well, not exactly. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy, it's a blueprint for living your best life, right here and right now. You see, the Stoics weren't just philosophers, they were practical, down-to-earth folks who wanted to help people navigate the challenges of life with wisdom and grace. Let's be real, life can be chaotic, stressful, and downright overwhelming. We're constantly bombarded with noise, social media, work pressures, personal drama, you name it. But what if I told you that the secret to handling all this chaos lies in mastering your mind? That's right, controlling your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Sounds like some Jedi-level wisdom, right? But here's the kicker: it's all totally achievable, and you don't need to be a monk or a guru to do it. The problem isn't what's happening around us, it's how we interpret those events. We're talking about perception, folks. The Stoics believe that it's not the events themselves that disturb us, but how we choose to view them. Imagine that. You get to decide how much power any situation holds over you. Sounds like a superpower, doesn't it? Think about it. Have you ever had one of those days where everything seems to go wrong? You spill your coffee, miss your bus, get chewed out by your boss, and then just when you think it can't get any worse, it starts raining, and you forgot your umbrella. But here's the thing: the Stoics would argue that it's not these events that ruin your day, it's your reaction to them. You see, the Stoics believe that we always have a choice. We can either let these minor inconveniences ruin our mood, or we can take them in stride, laugh them off, and keep moving forward. Let's break this down a bit more. Picture this: you're driving to work, and suddenly someone cuts you off in traffic. Your first reaction? Probably anger, right? Maybe even a little road rage? But let's pause for a moment and think like a Stoic. What if, instead of getting angry, you just let it go? What if you chose to remain calm, maybe even smiled and waved? The Stoics would say that the person who cut you off isn't really the problem, your anger is. And anger, they believed, is a choice. Crazy, right? But it's true. The Stoics taught that we can't control external events, but we can control our response to them. And that's where our true power lies. When you start to see life this way, it's like flipping a switch in your mind. Suddenly, the things that used to drive you crazy don't seem so bad. You start to realize that you have the power to choose peace, even in the midst of chaos. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. One of the core ideas of Stoicism is acceptance. No, I'm not talking about throwing in the towel and giving up. I'm talking about accepting reality as it is, warts and all. This doesn't mean you stop striving for better. It means you stop resisting what you can't change. Because let's face it, fighting reality is like trying to punch the ocean. You'll just tire yourself out. Imagine this scenario. You've been working hard on a project for weeks, maybe even months. You're totally invested, and you're sure it's going to be a success. But then, out of nowhere, everything falls apart. The project is canceled, or maybe it just doesn't turn out the way you hoped. Your first instinct might be to feel devastated, to beat yourself up, to dwell on what went wrong. But what if instead, you took a step back and accepted the situation for what it is? What if you saw it not as a failure, but as a learning experience? The Stoics would call this amor fati, love of fate. It's about embracing whatever happens, the good and the bad, as part of your journey. And here's the thing: when you stop resisting reality, you free up all that energy you were using to fight against it. You can redirect that energy into something productive, like finding a new opportunity, or simply enjoying the present moment. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means acknowledging what is, so you can focus on what can be. Picture this: you lose your job. Now, you can rage, you can cry, you can feel sorry for yourself, but does that change anything? Nope. The Stoics would say, accept it, embrace it. Now, what's your next move? This isn't about being passive, it's about being proactive in the face of adversity. Your peace of mind is your responsibility, and no one else's. Let's dig a little deeper into this idea. Think about a time when something didn't go your way. Maybe it was something big, like losing a job, or something smaller, like a fight with a friend. How did you react? Did you get stuck in a loop of negative thoughts, replaying the situation over and over in your mind? Or did you find a way to move forward? The Stoics would argue that the key to overcoming adversity isn't in changing the situation, but in changing how you think about it. And here's the kicker: when you practice acceptance, you actually become more powerful, not less. Because you're no longer wasting energy on things you can't control. You're focused, you're clear-headed, and you're ready to take action. This is what the Stoics mean when they talk about living in harmony with nature. It's about aligning yourself with the flow of life, rather than constantly swimming against the current. And what about happiness? In our hustle-driven society, we're told that happiness is somewhere out there. You know, once you get that promotion, buy that car, or find that perfect relationship, then and only then will you be happy. But the Stoics would call BS on that. True happiness, they say, comes from living a life of virtue, doing the right thing, even when no one's watching. It's about aligning your actions with your values, not with what society says should make you happy. Let me ask you, how often do you do things just because you think they'll make you happy, only to find that the happiness doesn't last? Maybe you bought something you really wanted, or you finally achieved a goal you've been working towards for years. But once the initial thrill wore off, did you feel fulfilled? Or did you find yourself looking for the next thing, the next achievement, the next hit of happiness? The Stoics would argue that this kind of happiness is fleeting because it's based on external things that are out of our control. They believe that true happiness comes from within, from living a life of virtue. But what does that mean exactly? Well, for the Stoics, virtue meant living in accordance with reason, doing what's right, and being true to yourself. It's about focusing on what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, your character, and letting go of everything else. I know what you're thinking: this sounds nice in theory, but how does it actually work? The Stoics weren't just thinkers, they were doers. They practiced what they preached with daily exercises, simple but powerful habits that you can start today. One of the most powerful exercises the Stoics practiced was journaling. At the end of each day, they would write down their thoughts, feelings, and reflections on what they had learned. This wasn't just a way to vent, it was a way to gain clarity, to understand themselves better, and to prepare for whatever tomorrow might bring. Here's how you can start. At the end of each day, take just 10 minutes to write down what happened, how you felt, and what you learned. Be honest with yourself, no one else is going to read it. This practice helps you see patterns in your thoughts and behaviors so you can make changes where needed. It's like holding up a mirror to your mind, and trust me, it can be incredibly powerful. Another practice the Stoics valued was meditation, specifically mindfulness meditation. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, not another person telling me to meditate, hear me out. This isn't about sitting cross-legged on the floor for hours, chanting Om. It's about taking a few minutes each day to just be present, to observe your thoughts without judgment, and to focus on your breath. The Stoics believe that by regularly practicing mindfulness, we can train our minds to be less reactive and more resilient. You see, the more you understand your inner world, the better you can navigate the outer one. And here's the thing: knowing yourself deeply isn't just about feeling good. It's about making better decisions, ones that lead you closer to the life you really want. When you start journaling and meditating, you'll begin to notice changes not just in how you think, but in how you feel and act. You'll become more aware of your thoughts, more in control of your emotions, and more at peace with whatever life throws your way. It's like building a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger you get. And finally, let's talk about habits. We all know the power of good habits, right? The Stoics were all about building routines that support a life of balance and efficiency. Start small, pick one habit that will make a difference in your life, and stick to it. Maybe it's morning meditation or a daily walk, whatever it is, commit to it. Because trust me, over time, these little habits compound into big changes. The Stoics understood that our daily habits shape our lives. They believed that by creating positive habits, we can set ourselves up for success, not just in the short term, but for the rest of our lives. Think about it: how often do you set goals for yourself, only to abandon them a few weeks later? It's not because you don't want to achieve them, but because you haven't built the habits that will get you there. So there you have it, the timeless secrets of Stoicism that can change your life today. Remember, it's not about becoming perfect, it's about making progress. Every step you take towards understanding and mastering your mind is a step towards a life of true peace and happiness. Whether you start journaling, meditating, or simply practicing acceptance, the key is consistency. Don't expect to change overnight, but know that with each small step, you're building a foundation for a life of resilience, calm, and fulfillment. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these Stoic principles resonates with you the most? What's the one thing you're going to start practicing today? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be reading every single one. And hey, if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who had devidat with soul. Remember, the power to live a fulfilled life is already within you. All you need to do is unlock it. Stay curious, stay courageous, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. This extended script is designed to be engaging, informative, and actionable, giving the audience a deep dive into Stoicism while keeping them hooked from start to finish.